Hello, and welcome to Convinced Catholicism, a place for all things Catholic. Today, I am going to do the Publican's prayer book. It's very well used, so you can hardly read the printing on it, but it does say prayer book, and there was a cross here and a cross here. This, for a very, very, very long time, was my favorite prayer book ever, and in many ways it still is. It's an extremely versatile prayer book, as you can see by the number of ribbons and the number of, tabs that I personally have placed in the book, and I'll go through all the tabs. Before I get started with the video, I'd just like to thank my subscribers. Last time I checked, we're at 300 and a quarter, I believe. Let's try to get that to 400, 500, and then eventually 1,000. I'm amazed and incredibly blessed at how fast the channel is growing, and I have only you to thank for that. So thank you. If you want to support the show in any other way, you can either follow me on Instagram, listen to my podcast, or you could support me financially on Locals, which is like Patreon, but more in consideration of freedom of speech. Anyway, this book is a Eastern Catholic book, specifically Melkite, which is the Catholic counterpart or the parallel to the Antiochian diocese. And so Byzantine Catholics and Orthodox people of any kind can use this book. Now, I will say, the first things first, this is an older edition. I think this is the penultimate or the second to last edition that came out. And the most recent is the fourth, which rather than a softer, more malleable binding, it is a hardcover. And there's a little bit more content in there. Not a whole lot, but you can go on the website and you can compare what you see here to what you see on the website. So it's not really a huge deal. No affiliate links or anything. I'll just put a link down below to where you can buy it. And they are right out of the United States of America. So that's very nice. Out of Boston specifically. So, although it's printed in China, at least this edition is. So, 4 by 6 inches. So again, not necessarily going to fit in your pocket, but definitely going to fit in a purse, a book bag, a satchel, whatever. So this is very portable. I brought this to Greece, and I prayed from it every day in Greece, and, you know, it was wonderful. So what is this exactly? It's simultaneously a breviary and simultaneously a devotional book. If you've seen my channel before, you'll know that the Byzantine Catholics do not really have, or the Eastern Church in general, do not really have breviaries for lay people. There is, though, this book here, the Anthologian, which is close to what you'll get for a breviary for lay people, but still not exactly there yet. It's also devotional because it has some private prayers, right? So let's break, excuse me. Let's break down what this prayer book has. So you'll see here in the daily prayers, this is sort of devotional. And then horologian literally means the book of the hours. So this is kind of where you'll get your breviary content. So you see morning prayers, prayers during the day, prayer of the hours. That kind of ties into the breviary aspect a little bit. Prayers upon beginning or completing any work, Vespers, Compline, Midnight Prayer, Othros, which is Matins, first hour, third hour, sixth hour, ninth hour. Typica is the service in which you do if there is not a mass or a divine liturgy available. So let's say that for whatever reason there's no priest available to come to your parish, or you're in the middle of the ocean, or if you're in the hospital and there's no chaplain, you can pray the Typica, and that doesn't fulfill your obligation, but that's kind of like an act of spiritual communion, if you know what I mean. And then the service of the 12 Psalms, which is, I think, actually not 12. It's like a little bit less than that. And then 3 or 4 non-psalm prayers that are called psalms in this. Prayers upon entering a church. And then all kinds of things here. Prayer of St. Ephrem is a Lenten prayer. Order of preparation for Holy Communion. The Troparian Katankia for Great Lent and Pascha. The Paschal Hour, so and so. So these are kind of the propers that you would see throughout the church year. So let me take you through the book. First the ribbons and then the tabs. Because the way that you divide this book is going to be different for everyone. This is the way that I've done it. My wife does it a little bit differently. She has another copy of this. And I know someone that does it differently from even the two of us. So you'll see how different it is. And you'll see that I penned in and penciled in some things as well. So you'll see here that I often pray Vespers and Compline from this book. And it's not the full Vespers or Compline. It's abbreviated, but that's on purpose. It's designed for the layperson to not get bogged down and even annoyed or impatient when they pray. And this is meant so that the layperson can keep up privately with the clergy and the monastics with their prayer and with each other, but not get hunkered down, I guess, by it. So if you look here, page 101 to 108, and then a few page flips here and there, that's really not that long, right? So 311, we see here that that's in November. Today is December 19th. Yes, 19th. So you can see here that we would be in the Sunday before Nativity, or, which it's not, or the Feast of St. Boniface. So you have all these, so you have a calendar, and then included in that are Troparian, which are the equivalent of colics for the feast or the season. Okay, then we have here, if your saint does not have a filled out thing, you'll see in parentheses, right? So for example, Saint Stephen in the Western Church is the 26th, but in the Eastern Church it's the 27th, common number 8. So you can go to number 8, and then you'll see for hierarchs, confessors, militists, although quite certainly martyrs will work, considering he's the first martyr. Then you have the great Optoikos, which is going to be for Sundays specifically. So if you go to a divine liturgy, you'll hear these tones. It's a 8-week cycle. Okay, and then throughout the week, if you don't want to commemorate a certain saint, then you can do these weekday these weekday propers. And then my last ribbon here is the Akathist hymn, which is kind of like a poetic, huge devotional, I don't want to say litany to the Theotokos, but a huge hymn, a poetic hymn with these intercessions, and there's 13 stases or eikos, and it's very beautiful. And it's, in order to do the full compline, the night prayer, you need to pray this. Oftentimes people skip over it or pray this separately, but it's a very beautiful prayer. And I think that if you're a Roman Catholic, like I am, it's a very beautiful thing to add to your private devotional life. So what are the tabs? So prayer for the hours, or prayer of the hours. At the end of all the inter hours, prime, terce, sext, and none, you could pray this. So it says, offered at first, third, sixth, and ninth hours and at compline, which that's at the end of that. Prayers of St. Ephrem. So during Lent, after all the prayers of the office are done, you pray this. and that's something that Roman Catholics may not even know exists. Confession prayers. So, if you're ready to receive the sacrament of confession, this is something that you can pray. Then what do we have here? Post-communion prayers. So after church, or while you're waiting for other people to receive their, or approach a chalice, you can pray some of these prayers. Lenten propers. So, and here's the interesting thing about Lent, and we'll be going over this in a future video, and I'll be reviewing this book, is Lent has a pre-season to it. You can prepare for Lent in the Sundays before that, and the Roman Catholic Church had that for a long time, but it's kind of faded away. But there are Sundays such as the Sunday of the Publican and Pharisee, the Prodigal Son, and so on and so forth. And then finally, the first Sunday of Lent, and so on and so forth, right? The Paschal Hour. Oftentimes people will privately replace the office with singing this 3 times, and that's it. Although you should still pray, but a lot of people just replace this, replace the office with saying this. And then I have kind of just general prayers. They're kind of put in the middle of the book in order to take away some of the load from the back of the book, right? And then we have Canon to Lord Jesus Christ, which is a devotional prayer to Jesus. Paraklesis, which is a devotional prayer to the Holy Theotokos in time of danger or need. A lot of bishops recommended that Catholics and Orthodox people pray this during the COVID-19 pandemic. There's some quotes from the Church Fathers in here, which is incredible. There are, even though this is a Catholic publication, I think there's 1 or 2 instances in which there are Orthodox saints in here. So, again, don't be bogged down by that, because the truth is the truth. And if you're Catholic, you know that Orthodox theology and Orthodox sacraments are technically valid, but illicit in the eyes of the Catholic Church. And oftentimes what happened was when these churches rejoined Rome, they took all their previous saints with them. And then lastly, spiritual aids. So maybe if you are suffering from temptation or repetitive mortal sin, you can go through these things and get a better understanding. And then in the back here, I put the order of the hours and different things in that. And I think that's in the front as well. Yes, it is. So there you go. Okay. So this book is wonderful. It's built to last. I don't remember exactly when I got this book, but it was probably right around 2017 or a little bit later than that, actually, to be totally honest with you. And this is a fantastic book full of resources for all kinds of Christians, specifically Catholic and Orthodox. There's books similar to this, even within the Catholic Church. This book is published by the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, as is that red one right over there, this one here, and as is the Book of the Hours by the Ruthenian Catholic Church. And since I personally attend a Ruthenian Catholic Church, I find that one to be very useful, at least with the translation. But when it comes to ease of use for the everyday person, for the every man or the every woman, this book is incredible. And you really don't need to learn how to use this book. Kind of like once you open it up, they will tell you exactly where to go. So for example, let's just say, for example, Vespers. Trisagion prayers. You need to know where that is in the book, but it won't be that hard to find it. And I have them tabbed off, so I can just pray them here. Okay, and then it ends with the Come Let Us Worships right here. And then Psalm 103, and so on. And then Kathismas are totally optional, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of people pray them, but they're a huge amount of the prayer. And for lay people, if you want to stay focused and have stamina left over, skip the Kathismas, because that could be like 8 or 9 or even 12, 15 Psalms already added on to the already a lot of prayer that you're doing. And then you can pray this, and then the Troparia of the day, page 293 to 383, already ribboned off, right? So wonderful. I mean, not for today, but let's just say, for example, it was the 22nd, or really the 21st, and you're praying anticipation for the 22nd. There it is. Let's pretend that it's Tuesday, which it isn't. You're praying anticipation for Wednesday. There it is. So this is a very straightforward book. I love it. Link down below. Thank you very much, and God bless.